You've been taught to feel excited. You've been taught to pump yourself up. You've been taught that when you want something, you must generate a powerful emotional state. You must feel euphoric. You must reach a high vibration, whatever that means. And perhaps you've tried that. Perhaps you stood in front of the mirror and said the words with passion and force. Perhaps you visualized your desire and tried to make yourself feel the thrill, the joy, the rush of having it. And perhaps it worked for a moment. But then the feeling faded, and you wondered why nothing came. Or worse, you wondered if you were doing it wrong. Let me tell you something now, and let this be the foundation of everything we speak about today. The feeling Neville Goddard spoke of is not the feeling you think. It is not excitement. It is not euphoria. It is not the emotional high that comes and crashes like a wave. The feeling he spoke of is natural. It is the quiet inner knowing that what you have assumed is already done. It is the feeling of course this is mine, of course this is true, of course I am this. That is the feeling. And it is in that stillness, that naturalness, that satisfaction without effort, that all things are made manifest. This is not what you were taught, but it is what works. And today I am going to show you why. Welcome. If this is your first time here, you have arrived at the right moment. This channel exists for one purpose only, to take you deeper into the teachings of Neville Goddard, not as philosophy, not as theory, but as lived experience. Today we are clarifying one of the most misunderstood aspects of his entire teaching. What is the feeling that creates? What is the feeling that creates? What is the feeling of the wish fulfilled? Because if you misunderstand this, you will exhaust yourself. You will try and feel nothing but frustration. But if you grasp this, everything changes. You will stop chasing, you will stop performing, and you will start living from the end with the kind of ease that makes the world reshape itself around you. So let us begin. Let me take you back to something Neville said again and again. Feeling is the secret. Those 3 words are the title of one of his most powerful books, and they contain the entirety of the law. But what is this feeling? When Neville spoke of feeling, he was not speaking about emotion in the way we commonly understand it. He was not telling you to become emotionally worked up. He was not instructing you to generate passion or intensity or excitement in the nervous system. He was speaking about something far deeper and far quieter. He was speaking about the feeling of reality, the feeling of being. Let me say that again. The feeling of being. Let me say that again. The feeling of reality. When you touch a table, you feel that it is solid. You do not question it. You do not have to convince yourself. You do not have to work yourself into a state of belief that the table is there. You simply know. You feel its reality. That is the feeling Neville is speaking of. The feeling that your desire, your assumption, your claim is real. Not that it will be real, not that it might be real, but that it is real now. This is why he constantly used the phrase, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Fulfilled. Not the feeling of wishing, not the feeling of wanting, not the feeling of hoping or trying to make it happen. The feeling of fulfillment. The feeling that comes when you already have the thing. And what is that feeling? Is it a surge of adrenaline? Is it a rush of joy that makes you leap and shout? It can include those things, yes, but that is not the essence of it. The essence is naturalness. It is calm. It is satisfaction. It is the feeling, of course. When you already have something, when it is yours and has been yours, there is no excitement about it. There is only quiet possession, quiet knowing. This is mine. This is who I am. This is my reality. And that inner stillness, that natural acceptance, is what impresses the subconscious mind. That is what hardens into fact. Think of something you already have in your life. Perhaps you have a particular relationship. Perhaps you have a skill or a possession or a status that is simply yours now. When you think of it, do you feel a surge of emotion? Do you have to psych yourself up to believe you have it? No. You simply accept it. It is natural to you. It feels obvious. And because it feels obvious, you do not question it. You do not worry about losing it in the way you worry about things you are trying to get. You live from the assumption that it is yours, and so it remains yours. That is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That sense of natural possession. That quiet certainty. And that is what you must cultivate within yourself regarding everything you desire. not the fever of wanting, but the calm of having. Now let me address why this matters so much. Why does calm certainty manifest faster and more reliably than emotional highs? Because emotional highs are unstable. They come and they go. When you work yourself into a state of excitement about your desire, you are actually reinforcing the fact that you do not have it yet. You are celebrating the idea of it, not the reality of it. And the subconscious mind, which is the creative power within you, does not respond to ideas. It responds to states. It responds to what you accept as true about yourself. If you are excited because you are imagining a future where you have your desire, you are placing your desire in the future. Where you are excited because you are imagining a future where you have your desire, you are placing your desire, and the future never comes. There is only now, always now. The subconscious creates in the present based on what you are now. So if now you are someone who is excited about the possibility of having something, that is the state you will continue to experience. Possibility, potential, excitement about what is not yet yours. But if now you are someone who simply has it, who accepts it as done, as natural, as obvious, then that is the state you impress, and the subconscious, which is the builder of your world, begins to harden that state into your outer experience. Neville once said, "You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are." What are you? Not what you desire, but what you desire. But what you desire, but you accept as true of yourself right now. If you are calm in the knowledge that you are wealthy, you will become wealthy in the outer world. If you are calm in the knowledge that you are loved, that you are healthy, that you are successful, those things will appear because you are no longer seeking them. You are being them. And the world, which is yourself pushed out, reflects back to you what you are. Not what you want, not what you hope for. What you are. Let me give you an example. A man once wrote to Neville describing his experience. He had been trying for months to manifest a new job. He visualized it every day. He felt excited thinking about it. He imagined the interview, the offer, the celebration. But nothing came. He grew frustrated. Then one day, after reading Neville's work more carefully, he shifted his approach. Instead of imagining the excitement of getting the job, he imagined the mundane naturalness of having it. He imagined sitting at his desk in the new office, bored perhaps, going through emails, drinking his coffee. He imagined the routine of it, the ordinariness. He did not try to make himself feel thrilled. He simply assumed it was his reality now, and he let that assumption settle into a kind of comfortable knowing. Within 2 weeks he received a call. Within a month he was sitting at that very desk. What changed? He stopped trying to feel the emotion of the wish and started living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The feeling of already being the man who had that job. The feeling of course. This is the distinction that will set you free. Excitement is about the event. Naturalness is about identity. When you are excited, you are reacting to the idea that something good is going to happen to you. When you are natural, you are simply being the person to whom that thing already belongs. One is emotional and temporary. The other is a state of being, and it is permanent until you change it. Neville was always pointing you back to state, to consciousness, to I am, because I am is the name of God. It is the creative power. It is the foundation of all manifestation. What comes after I am, whatever you place there, you become. If you say I am excited about my desire, you are identifying as someone who is in a state of anticipation. If you say I am the person who has this, who is this, you are identifying as the fulfilled state. And identity always manifests, always the sea, inner acceptance. Always manifest, as doorway de Neville, is not a peak emotional experience. It is a deep inner acceptance. It is the feeling you have when something is so true, so natural, so obvious to you that you do not even think about it anymore. You just live from it. That is the feeling. And you do not need to work yourself into it. In fact, the more you try to force feeling, the further you get from the real thing. The real feeling is effortless. It is surrender. It is rest. Neville often used the word satisfaction. The feeling of satisfaction. Not the thrill of attainment, but the quiet satisfaction of knowing it is done. Picture a man who has just finished building a house. He does not jump up and down. He simply looks at it and feels satisfied. It is done. That is the feeling. It is the feeling of the Sabbath, the day of rest. God created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. Why? Because it was finished. That rest, that satisfaction, is the consciousness of completion, and that is what you must enter regarding your desire. You must rest in the knowledge that it is finished. Not that you will finish it, not that you hope it will be finished. It is finished now, and you rest in that. You feel satisfied. You feel natural. You feel calm. This is why Neville so often told people to enter into the feeling of the wish fulfilled and fall asleep in it. Sleep is the ultimate state of surrender, of naturalness, of letting go. You do not try to sleep. You simply allow it. And in that allowing, that relaxation, the conscious mind steps aside, and the subconscious receives the impression purely, without interference. That is the state you want. Not hype, not effort, not performance, but deep, natural acceptance. The feeling, of course, this is mine. The feeling, of course, this is mine. The feeling of how to be otherwise, that is the feeling. And it is quiet. It is still. It is certain. And it's the most powerful force in your reality. Now let us go deeper. Let us go what is happening beneath the surface when you assume the feeling of naturalness rather than the emotion of excitement. To understand this, you must understand what Neville meant by consciousness. Consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, the entire world you see, touch, and experience, is consciousness pushed out. It is the externalization of your inner state. You are not a body with a consciousness. You are consciousness, imagining itself to be a body. This is not metaphor. This is metaphysical fact. The true you is awareness itself. Pure I am. And whatever I am assumes, whatever I am accepts as true, becomes the framework through which I am experiences reality. If I am assumes limitation, I am experiences limitation. If I am assumes limitation. If I am assumes wealth, I am experiences wealth. Not because something outside changes, but because I am is creating the very lens, the very dimension in which it operates. You are not perceiving a neutral world. You are perceiving your own consciousness reflected back to you in three-dimensional form. This is what Neville meant when he said, the world is yourself pushed out. It is not that the world reacts to you, it is that the world is you. There is no separation. What you see outside is the shadow, and you are the light casting it. Change the position of the light, and the shadow changes instantly. Change your inner state, and the shadow changes instantly. Change your inner state, and the outer world rearranges. But here is the key. The inner state that creates is not the state of wanting. It is the state of being. You do not create from desire. You create from identity. You must be the thing before you see the thing. This is why excitement does not work. Excitement is future-oriented. It is a response to something you believe is coming. But creation happens now. The subconscious does not wait. It does not plan. It builds now, constantly, based on the state you are occupying now. So if you occupy the state of excitement about a future event, you are telling your subconscious that you are not yet the person who has that thing. And the subconscious, being entirely faithful and non-judgmental, agrees. It says, yes, you are someone who is excited about a possibility, and it continues to generate a reality that matches that, a reality in which you remain someone excited about a possibility, but not someone in possession of the thing. You see the trap. The very emotion you thought was helping you is actually keeping you in the state of separation from your desire. But when you shift into calm certainty, into naturalness, into the feeling of already being and already having, you occupy a completely different state. You are no longer in the state of wanting. You are in the state of having. And the subconscious, which knows no other reality than the one you give it, begins to build that reality than the one you give it, begins to build that reality for you in the outer world. It must. It cannot do otherwise. Consciousness is the only reality. If you are conscious of being a certain kind of person, you will experience the world that corresponds to that person. This is law. This is not belief. This is mechanical in the highest sense. It is the mechanical in the highest sense. It is the mechanical in the highest sense. It is the mechanics of creation itself. Neville often quoted scripture to illustrate this. He loved the line from the Gospel of John, I am the resurrection and the life. Not I will be, not I hope to be. I am. Present tense. And also, before Abraham was I am, not I was, not I will be. I am. This is the eternal now. The creative moment is always now. The feeling that creates is the feeling you hold now, not later, not when circumstances change. Now, and the feeling that is most creative is not the feeling of reaching for something, but the feeling of already being it. Because in the realm of consciousness, in the realm of I am, there is no distance, there is no gap, there is only being. Because in the realm of I am, there is nice. You either are or you are not. And the moment you assume you are, you become that in consciousness. And once you become that in consciousness, the outer world must follow. It is the shadow. It is the effect. You are the cause. This is why Neville constantly insisted that assumption, though false to the outer senses, if persisted in, will harden into fact. You do not wait for evidence to assume. You assume, and then the evidence comes. But the assumption must feel natural. It must feel real to you inwardly. Not exciting, not thrilling, real. As real as the chair you sit in, as real as your own name. That is the depth of feeling he is pointing to. The feeling of reality. The feeling that does not question itself. The feeling that simply is. Let me give you another example. A woman once came to one of Neville's lectures and asked him how to feel the reality of a new state when everything in her life contradicted it. She was poor. She wanted wealth. How could she feel wealthy when her bank account and her surroundings screamed poverty? Neville told her this. You do not try to feel wealthy by looking at imaginary millions. You feel wealthy by assuming the inner naturalness of wealth. How does a wealthy person feel inside? Not ecstatic, not constantly celebrating. They feel natural. They feel relaxed. They do not worry about money. They do not check prices with anxiety. They simply move through the world with a kind of ease and assurance. That is the feeling. That is what you assume. You do not imagine great external riches and try to feel excited about them. You imagine the inner tone, the inner calm, the inner certainty of wealth, and you live in that. You wear it like a garment, and as you do, your outer world begins to shift. Opportunities appear. Money comes, circumstances rearrange, not because you worked hard or got lucky, but because you changed your state, and your state creates your world. You see now why calm certainty manifests faster than emotional highs, because calm certainty is a state of being. It is solid, it is consistent, it does not fluctuate, it does not depend on outer conditions or temporary emotions. It is a deep inner position that you hold regardless of what is happening around you. And when you hold a state consistently, when you return to it again and again, when you live from it naturally, it crystallizes. It becomes your reality. Not someday, now. And then the now you experience in the outer world begins to match it. This is the entire teaching. This is the law. Consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. And the consciousness that is most powerful is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, certain, and natural. It is quiet, certain, and natural. It is the consciousness of already being. The feeling, of course I am this, of course I have 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 this. Not dare to wish for it, not dare to hope for it, dare to assume it. To assume means to take it as true without evidence, to claim it as your own now. And when you do that, when you truly assume it in consciousness, you will find that you do not need to pump yourself up. You do not need to generate emotion. You simply rest in it. You feel natural in it. And that naturalness is the sign that you have truly assumed it. That is the secret. Feeling is the secret. That is the secret. But the feeling is not excitement. The feeling is the deep, calm, unshakable knowing that it is done. So now, let us make this practical. How do you cultivate this feeling? How do you move out of the habit of seeking excitement and into the state of natural certainty? The answer is simple, though it requires practice. You must use your imagination to create a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. And then you must enter into that scene not with the goal of feeling thrilled, but with the goal of feeling natural. Let me walk you through this step by step as though you and I are sitting together right now and I am guiding you. First, decide what you want. Be specific, not vague, not someday, but specific. A particular job, a particular relationship, a particular state of health or wealth or recognition. Whatever it is, name it clearly in your mind. Now ask yourself this question. If I had this now, If this were already true, what would be different? Not in some grand external way necessarily, but in the small, natural, everyday moments of my life. What would I be doing? How would I be moving through the world? What would feel obvious and natural to me? This is important. Do not imagine a peak moment. Do not imagine the big celebration or the dramatic reveal. Imagine the mundane evidence of fulfillment, the quiet, ordinary, natural evidence. If you desire a relationship, do not imagine the proposal. Imagine the morning coffee together, the casual conversation, the comfortable silence. If you desire a new home, do not imagine the moment you get the keys. Imagine sitting in your living room, looking around, feeling familiar with it, feeling like it is just home. Nothing special, just yours. Do you see the difference? You are not imagining the thrill. You are imagining the naturalness, the after, the settled reality. And this is what you enter into in your imagination. Choose a simple scene, a single moment that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Neville called this a scene that would naturally occur after the wish is fulfilled. It should be short. It should involve you. It should feel real. And then, as you relax, as you sit quietly or lie down to sleep, you replay that scene in your mind. But here is the key. You do not watch it like a movie. You enter it. You feel yourself there. You feel yourself there. You feel the texture of the moment, the sensory details, the naturalness of it. If you are imagining shaking someone's hand in congratulations, feel the handshake. Feel the warmth of the hand. Hear the voice. Feel your own body responding. Make it real in your imagination, not dramatic, not heightened, just real, just natural. And as you do this, notice the feeling that arises, not the emotional charge, but the feeling of reality, the feeling that this is happening, this is mine, this is mine, this is me. That feeling is what you are after. It is a quiet feeling, a still feeling. It may come with a sense of relief. It may simply feel obvious. That is perfect. That is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And once you touch that feeling, once you feel that inner naturalness, you do nothing more. You do not try to hold on to it with effort. You simply rest in it. You let it saturate you, and then you release it. You fall asleep in it if you are doing this at night, or you go about your day if you are doing it in the morning. You let it go, not because you doubt it, but because it is done. When you mail a letter, you do not carry it with you. You drop it in the box and trust that it will arrive. This is the same. You have impressed the feeling, you have assumed the state. Now you let it go and trust the law. Do this every day, not with strain, not with desperation, but with calm repetition. The same scene, or a similar scene that implies the same fulfillment. Enter it. Feel it as natural, rest in the reality of it, and then go about your day from that state. This is the practice. This is how you shift from seeking to being, from wanting to having, from excitement to certainty. It is simple, but it is everything. Let me give you a small piece of instruction Neville gave many times. He said, the time to impress the subconscious is at night, just before sleep. Why? Because in that drowsy state, the conscious mind, with all its doubts and objections, is quiet. The inner gate is open, and whatever you feel, whatever you assume in that state, sinks deeply into the subconscious without resistance. So tonight, as you lie down, do not simply fall asleep in whatever state the day has left you in. Deliberately choose your state. Choose the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Choose the scene that implies it is done. Enter that scene. Feel it as real. Feel it as natural. And drift into sleep from within that feeling. Do not worry if your mind wanders. Gently bring it back. Do not worry if you do not feel a big emotion. You are not looking for a big emotion. You are not looking for a big emotion. You are looking for the quiet sense of reality, the naturalness, the of course. That is enough, more than enough. That is the seed. And the seed planted in the subconscious will grow into the harvest you desire. This is law. This is promise. Try it tonight and every night, and watch what happens. Now I want to speak to the deeper reason why this teaching matters beyond any single desire. You are not doing this work merely to get things. You are doing this work to awaken to who and what you truly are. You are not a limited being hoping to manifest a little more comfort in a random universe. You are God, You are the infinite creative power, imagining itself to be a human being, and slowly, through experience and through teaching like this, remembering what you truly are. This is the great secret. This is what Neville spent his entire life trying to give you. You are not a person seeking God. You are God clothed in the limitations of the human form, seeking to awaken to your own divine nature. And the way you awaken is through creation, through assuming, through imagining, through proving to yourself again and again that your inner state creates your outer world. Every time you assume something, and it hardens into fact, you are proving to yourself that you are not subject to the world. You are the creator of it. This is why the feeling of naturalness is so important, because naturalness is power. When you are natural in a state, when you are calm and certain in it, you are not asking for permission. You are not begging. You are not hoping. You are claiming. You are declaiming. You are declaring. You are declaring. You are saying, this is mine because I am the one who decides what is mine. I am the operant power. I am the creator. And this is what I have chosen to be. That is divine authority. That is God speaking. And when God speaks, when I am declares something, it is so. Not because the universe grants it, but because I am is the universe. I am is the creative power. There is no power outside of you. There is no force you must appeal to. You are the power. And the moment you realize that, the moment you stop seeking and start being, everything changes. Neville often said that the whole vast world is no more than your own wonderful human imagination pushed out. Do you believe that? Not intellectually, but in your lived experience. Because if you do, if you truly accept that the world is your imagination made visible, then you realize that there is nothing outside of you that can stop you. No circumstance, no person, no condition. Everything is your own consciousness reflected. And if it is your own consciousness reflected, and if it is your own consciousness, then you can change it, not by fighting it, not by effort, but by changing what you are conscious of being, by assuming a new state and living in it until the outer world catches up. And it will catch up. It must, because there is no outer world independent of your consciousness. There is only your consciousness appearing as the outer world. That is the truth. That is the foundation of everything Neville taught. And once you know that, once you truly know it, you become free. Free from fear, free from doubt, free from the tyranny of circumstances. You realize that you are always creating, every moment, with every assumption, with every feeling you dwell in. And if you are always creating, then you can create deliberately. You can choose what to assume. You can choose what to feel. You can choose who to be. And that choice is your power. That is your divinity. So yes, use this teaching to manifest your desires. Manifest the money, the love, the health, the success. But know that those things are not the point. They are the evidence, the proof, the confirmation. The point is the awakening. The point is the realization that you are not a beggar in the universe. You are the universe. You are the I am. And what I am assumes becomes. That is the truth. And it is the truth that will set you free. When you rest in the calm certainty of your fulfilled desire, when you feel that naturalness, that quiet knowing, you are not just manifesting a thing. You are remembering your power. You are stepping into the consciousness of God. And from that consciousness, all things are possible. Not because you try hard, not because you earn it, but because you are it. You are the power that creates, and you create by being, by assuming, by feeling it as done, by resting in the certainty that it is finished. And then, in ways you cannot predict or control, the outer world shifts. It rearranges. It delivers to you the evidence of what you have assumed, not because the world is kind, not because you got lucky, but because the world is you. And you have changed. So do not chase excitement, not because the world is you. Do not exhaust yourself trying to generate emotion. Simply assume, simply be, and rest in the calm, natural, certain feeling of your wish fulfilled. That is the feeling Neville spoke of. That is the secret, and it is yours now. It has always been yours. You simply have to be reminded. Let me leave you with this. Today or tonight, when you go to impress your subconscious, do not try to feel anything big. Do not perform for yourself. Simply choose a scene that implies your wishes fulfilled and enter it with the goal of feeling natural in it. As if it is obvious, as if it could not be otherwise. Feel yourself there in that moment and notice how natural it feels, how right, how easy. That ease is the feeling. That naturalness is the power. And when you feel it, when you rest in it, you have done the work. The rest will follow, not because you forced it, but because it is law. Consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. And if you are conscious of being the person for whom this desire is already fulfilled, then you are that person. And the world will show you that you are. It must, because the world is yourself pushed out. There is no other. There is only you. And you are God, creating, always, now. So go now with this truth. You are not seeking, you are not hoping, you are not waiting. You are simply being, and from that being all things come, not with noise, not with drama, but with the quiet, inevitable certainty of a seed becoming a tree. You have planted the seed. Now rest, now trust, now be, and watch as your world transforms to match the truth you have assumed within. That is the teaching. That is the secret. That is the secret. That is the feeling Neville was actually talking about. It is not the feeling you thought. It is demoted. It is identity. It is certainty. It is certainty. It is not excitement. It is not excitement. It is certainty. And certainty, calm and natural, is the very consciousness of creation itself. It is the consciousness of God, and that is what you are. Now go and prove it. Not to me, not to the world, but to yourself. Assume it. Feel it as natural. And let it be done. I tell you, it is done. The moment you accept it within, it is done. The moment you accept it within, it is done. The outer world is just the echo, and the echo is already on its way. Rest in that. Be sadity, and you are that consciousness. Always have been, always will be. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for daring to assume. The world is waiting to show you who you really are. Let it. Sleep well tonight in the knowledge of your fulfilled desire. Let that be the last thought, the last feeling. Naturalness, calm, certainty. Of course it is mine. Of course I am this. Not could it be otherwise. That is the feeling, and it is the only feeling you ever need.